Welcome back to the Tao of Wellbeing. So today I want to talk about a practice from Tibetan Buddhism for working with depression. Now, health and safety warning with this: if you are taking medication for depression, this is not a substitute for that. So the idea is that you would continue with your medication, and then doing this practice may in time make it possible to kind of taper off your medication under the guidance of your healthcare professional. Okay, so this is not a substitute. Having said that, it's a very effective practice and it's very, very simple. Okay, so basically what you do is if you can leave the house, you leave the house. If not, you'll have to find a window and open a window and look outside. What you need to do is you need to find instances in your environment of joy and happiness. Okay, so for example, you might hear some children playing in a playground, or you might see a dog running along all happy and enjoying itself in its environment, or you might hear some birds chirping, or you might hear some people having a friendly conversation with each other. It can be anything, but the point is some kind of joy or happiness in your environment. And what you then do is you either say out loud, or you can whisper, but you need to kind of get your vocal cords involved. So you may not want to say it out loud if you're self-conscious or it's just not appropriate, but at least, get your vocal cords involved. You say, "May all beings experience such happiness." Now you can use exactly that phrase if you wish. May all beings experience such happiness, or you can kind of tailor it to the exact situation. So, may all beings experience such playfulness, such joy, such well-being. You can use your own words, or you can use the kind of standard phrase that I just mentioned. But the point is that you notice this joy in your environment, and in wishing it forward for all beings, you're kind of doing the opposite of what your depression is doing. So if you're depressed, you're going to likely be very kind of self-absorbed, very self-focused, right? So your attention is all on me, yeah? And also it's going to be on misery and suffering and all that kind of stuff. So what this practice does is just in a very light way reverses that. So the direction is it's outward, it's other beings, may all beings, which also includes me, but the focus is not on me. It's may all beings experience such happiness, right? So happiness as opposed to this kind of heavy, downward, depressed energy. 3 instances. So on your walk that you're doing, because you've gone outside, you look for 3 instances and you do this explicitly and deliberately, vocalize it, whether it's whispered or out loud. That is all you have to do. Now the thing is, in order for this to actually have an effect, you need to do it with some kind of consistency. And this is what a lot of people struggle with, because if you have depression, it's quite hard to be consistent about stuff, because you might be like, oh, today I'm too down, I'm too depressed, I haven't got the energy or whatever, yeah. So it's important to be consistent, but at the same time, not sort of really harsh with yourself. So what I've done to help with this is I've created a kind of, like a practice record, if you like. It's very simple. You just check off the days that you've done it. Now, the recommendation is that you do minimum of 3 days a week. You can do 7 if you want, but if you make that into like, I've got to do it every day, it can become a bit of a burden on yourself. So 5 is kind of like optimal. So, 3, 5, 7. But basically, when you've done it, tick it off. And what this does is it makes you kind of accountable to yourself. It also gives you a sense of achievement, because you can look and you can see, yes, I did it that day. And if you've got it stuck on your fridge, it's like, oh, that's a reminder. The instructions are at the top, very simple instructions. Now, of course, you don't have to use the sheet. But the basic idea is that with a lot of these kind of alternative practices, and even things like taking medication, right, the doctor would say, well, of course you have to take it for it to work. You have to take it regularly at the same time, usually at the same time every day. So you need that kind of consistency in order for the thing to take effect. Okay, so one way of achieving that, if you're going to struggle, is to use something like this, which I will put a link to in the description for this video. So yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to share this very useful practice. My experience of it is I've done it as part of a collection of practices that I do for a month at a time, and I found it very, very helpful in kind of expanding, opening, widening my kind of perspective on life, and just kind of being more interested in other beings, more interested in my environment, just kind of creating a bit more kind of lightness and openness in my life. I haven't done it as a kind of long-term antidepressant practice, but I've been told on very good authority that it's very good for that. Again, in conjunction with your medication, which may eventually be something you can kind of taper if this is actually working. But you need to do this for it to work. You need to do it consistently. And I've been told that for some people it may be a lifelong thing. It's like, okay, if you've got this kind of depressive tendency, then part of your dealing with that will be to have a practice like this that you do, you know, with consistency and diligence. So that's it. It's a natural antidepressant, not a substance, but a practice from Tibetan Buddhism. I hope you find it helpful, and please like and subscribe to this channel if you like this material, and I'll see you in the next video.